Yep, there's a lot of news flying around, a lot of drama going around in the NBA right now. But
Oh,
luckily, the Knicks, it seems like we are getting our target. It's been reported by Shams that we are actually going to get Jalen Brunson. And with the amount of moves that the New York Knicks did in order to free up the cap space, it's good that we were able to get our guy. I'm excited to see what the Knicks are going to do in addition to this move. So, Foxy, how did you feel when you first saw it?
I'm really happy, and I'm really happy about that 110 number. Yesterday's show, we talked about possibly 126 and everything. That's a whole lot better, and also, like you just said, it gives us a little more leverage, maybe to add another piece to this team. So I think he's going to be a stabilizing force. I'm really, really happy that we finally have a professional point guard on this team.
Yep, we are adding a professional point guard. That's something the Knicks have been starving for years. The last time we had somebody that you felt comfortable with heading into a game at point guard was probably who, Jason Kidd, and even that was Jason Kidd when he was well over the hill. So now that we have a guy like Jalen Brunson who does have some talent, he does some things out there on the court that you really like. We've mentioned in the stream yesterday, he's elite finishing around the rim. Another thing that really sticks out to me that I saw during the playoffs was Jalen Brunson and his footwork. That's something that I really, really jumped off the screen to me when I was watching him out there. So to see what he'll be able to do if we're able to bring back a Mitchell Robinson and put him in a position where he's not asked to do too much, but he's also in a position to help relieve some of the pressure that we see on guys like RJ Barrett and a Julius Randle if he'll still be here.
Yeah, and not only what I'm also excited about is closing. The problems this team had with closing games last year. This is a different guy, and hopefully, maybe Obi won't get 12 minutes a game. He'll get a lot more. So if Randall's still our guy, he'll be a lot fresher. And yeah, so uh, finally, we got ourselves a point guard and somebody because of his usage and his style. I think is going to make the guys around him, RJ and Randall, and like you just said, Mitch. God willing, we sign him. We have a few more minutes to go. Make us a lot better. I know
Yeah.
we're going to be a lot better, folks.
Yep, and you mentioned we talked about the contract yesterday. They haven't released the terms. Of course, everything is still, breaking news. We don't really know the exact details, but you can see it's probably going to be the two to the left, either ascending or descending. Now, yesterday we all said we preferred the descending model, but in the way the contracts are typically structured, you might see us ending up with the ascending model where we pay him 25 now, and then in the last year of the deal, it'll be right around 28 to 29 million dollars.
Yeah, hopefully Rick said to him, "Hey, do us a solid, and you got some good money. Let's do the descending, so we can put better players around you."
I'm sure you guys are excited about the news. The Knicks now finally have a point guard, and it's a young point guard, someone that has the potential to grow. I think that's something you have to mention when you talk about a Jalen Brunson. He was over in Dallas where he was playing with another a ball dominant guard and a Luka Doncic. So now he's going to come over to the Knicks where we want somebody to take the ball out of Julius Randle's hands. And now that we have a competent point guard, I think as fans, we can now see an avenue for that to happen. So I'm excited to see how the team looks out there on the court. We have at start. This is what we would prefer. There's no guarantee Cam is going to get that starting position at the three, but I think that would be the ideal situation, especially with the press release that they, sent out. They don't do any media sessions, but they do send out press releases, and they said they want to go toward, developing some of these younger guys. So I think if we have Cam elevated into the starting lineup, that would kind of hold true to what they were trying to say. But you can see the starters are going to be Jalen, RJ, Cam, Randall, and Mitch. Now, with Mitch still up in the air, we haven't heard any news from any sources regarding his contract situation, but hopefully he is going to be retained. And then now you see the second team, you've got Quick, Grimes, Fournier, Obi, and Sims. And this really puts us in a difficult situation with a D Rose because now what are we going to do with him? He's a favorite of Tibbs, and I would expect Tibbs would probably argue to have him as the backup point guard. So, Foxy, what are you expecting for this team next season when it comes to this rotation?
Like you said, I'm looking for that first team to be, like you said, Jalen, RJ, Cam, Randall, and Mitch. And, Jalen is a veteran. So that's the veteran presence that we want to help the young kids like an IQ. But D Rose, I think, has to be on the move. I think, if you look at it, you have Jalen, you have IQ, you have D Rose, you have Deuce, you have Keels. You have a lot of people there, that quote unquote are the playmaker type of players on this team. That it's a log jam. We gotta do, and we also, he's not here now, but we also have Rokas in a stashed away. So I think it would be prime time for us to move a D Rose.
And when you look at the organizational depth chart that we put together, I like Jalen Brunson for what he can potentially do with a Mitchell Robinson. The fact that he can unlock Mitch, I've been saying it here time and time again on the channel that we really need a point guard that can put Mitchell Robinson in a position to score. And I think if we have Jalen Brunson and Mitchell Robinson operate in the pick and rolls, we can feature Mitch a little bit more. And George, he also tweeted out, or he retweeted a tweet, I believe it was from Tom Piccolo, showing Mitchell Robinson actually hitting 2 jump shots in the NBA, and they were all cash, nothing but net swish. So if Mitch can be given that green light to not necessarily step all the way out and shoot 3 pointers, just shoot the nice little mid range. And if we can have a nice 2-man game that can be built between a Jalen Brunson and a Mitchell Robinson, I think that would be great. Because last season, the only guy I thought that really looked for Mitch was an RJ. And if we can bring somebody else in that can do, that same thing that RJ was able to do with Mitch, build some chemistry in the pick and roll and look for him, I think we can maximize whatever contract we're going to go out there and give Mitchell Robinson this offseason.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, Mitch shot 49% from the foul line last year. That we didn't make us happy. But if Mitch shot 49% on pick and pops from the foul line, because we'd all be ecstatic.
Yep.
But also, you know what? Like we talked about, I don't mind them missing. It keeps them honest. That it changes everything. They know he's going to take a shot.
Another thing that Brunson can bring to this team is the fact that he's shown the ability to play off ball. I mentioned at the beginning of the show he was playing off ball of Luka Doncic, and he was able to thrive, especially in the postseason where he was able to up his game. If we want this team to continue to feature an RJ Barrett. So with RJ Barrett as being featured offensively, Jalen Brunson has shown us that he can continue to cook off ball. And we showed the stat yesterday. He's great at shooting the corner three. So RJ is showing the ability to find guys in the corner for threes, and that would definitely help with the spacing and getting RJ some lanes and avenues to get into the paint and finish. So I think there are a lot of positives that come to this Jalen Brunson signing, and it gives a little bit of hope for Knicks fans as to what he can become if he's given the opportunity to take over.
Yeah, and I think another strange thing, and we've all talked about it, you, me, and the SV Nation, is you have to be a special player to play in New York with the media, the fans, etc. He's a Villanova tough boy. I don't think it's gonna impact him whatsoever. He is a dog, so I love that part about it. Sometimes you sign somebody and you're like, I love him, but how is he going to handle? I have no issue that Jalen's going to have an issue with New York, the meter, and everything. I think it's just going to roll off his back. Like we said, he's going to be a professional, and like I said, I love Villanova boys, so I think he's going to be fine. And which is great, man. That's a great thing to have somebody who's not impacted. And we saw whether Randall and a few other players that can be impacted by the fans.